In this video, I'll be going over retrieving results from a database and displaying those results on a web page, and this is from a single table. Right now, in the last video, I wrote a commenting form where you can leave comments, and what it did is an insert of that particular comment into this database table called comment. To get a layout of a table, I would do is describe on the table name, and it gives you a layout of all the columns in the database and what those types are and additional information. If I wanted to pull out a record from a database or more records that meet a certain criteria, you would use a select statement with the columns that you want to retrieve. For example, if I wanted to get the message and the time that the message was created at, I would do a select on message, created at, use the from keyword, give it a table name to retrieve that information from, which would be comment, and you usually use a selection criteria to filter down those results. And you would use a where keyword followed by any selection criteria that you want to use. For example, if I wanted to get only the comments from video ID of 20, I would do video ID is equal to 20, and running that gives me 3 results. Now to do this in PHP, I have a video HTML page, and I want to add the comments from the database below add a comment form. So the first thing I would need to do is rename the video.html file to be a PHP file, because I'll need to write server-side code to retrieve those results. And in here I'll write some functions to go and fetch the results and then display them on the page. So at the beginning of the document, I'll do a $PHP to tell it that we're going to be writing PHP code, and end it with a question mark greater than symbol to tell it that we're finished writing PHP code. And in here, I'll create a function called retrieve comments and give it a parameter of video ID. And in the body of the function, I would write the code to connect to the database, close the database, and in between that to get the results from it. And I've already written some of the connection code in a function called add comment, where I inserted in the comments into the database. So I'll just copy some of this connection code and paste it into this function. One thing I should mention is that the act of copying and pasting code is generally frowned upon, because it just creates maintenance work down the road. For example, if I wanted to make some changes to the way I connect to the database, instead of changing it in one place, since I copied and pasted the code, I now have to change it in 2 places. And if I want to create more database functions that retrieve other information, and if I copy and paste the code, and I'd have to now change it in 3, 4, 10, 20 different places. Generally what happens is that people write their own custom database functions to connect to databases, handle errors, log the errors out to a file, for example, and so forth. But just for now, I'll just copy and paste it into this one function. So for the retrieve comments, I'll initialize a comments variable to an empty array. Return the comments as the result of this function. I don't need added comment is equal to true. I'll remove that. I'll also remove the comment text escaping. And in here, I'll change the SQL, which does the insert into the database, to a select statement to retrieve the comments from the database, which is select message and created at. from, and I would give it a table name, comment, and use my where keyword and give it a video ID of 20. And the video ID will be passed in as a argument to this function, so I'll just use a video ID parameter. And PHP will automatically take the $video ID and put in the argument that I passed in to this function. I'm also putting back ticks, and back tick is the key to the left